2, that's the percent of people who take the stairs when there's a choice of an escalator. 70% of people, more than 70% now, are overweight or obese. Only 20% of eating is actually driven by physiological hunger. 80% of it is just, I'm bored. It's noon, I guess I'll eat, or I'm stressed out.
Welcome back. This week's clip is going to be from an episode of The Joe Rogan Experience, interviewing Michael Easter, talking about his book, The Comfort Crisis. And as usual, after we're done watching the clip, we're going to apply our expanded understanding of Ohm's Law to it so we can show you that what they're actually talking about is energy law. They just haven't made the connections between what they're observing and the actual physical law, which has been proven and we all know exists. Let's watch the clip.
I don't have a problem with comfort. I do have a problem with always being comfortable, always leaning into comfort, which is what we're doing now.
Yeah.
All right, so if you think of the average person's daily life, they wake up in the soft bed, temperature-controlled home. They shuffle over to the microwave a breakfast burrito, right, that came in from who knows where and is made with who knows what. And then it's like, I go to work, I drive to work, I sit behind this screen all day. I don't have to move at all or put any effort into this day, and then it's back to bed in front of the TV, and you just rinse and repeat that. At no point in daily life, I would argue, are people really challenged or really uncomfortable anymore, like we were in our past. I think, and I argue in the book, The Comfort Crisis, that we need these moments that push back at us, and we need to sort of investigate these discomforts that we used to face in our evolutionary past. So, for example, we know that there's benefits to getting out and moving more. We know there's benefits to being outside. We also know that there's benefits to truly being challenged in life. It's like I said before, you can basically never be challenged as you go through life in a real sort of fundamental way, and you'll probably have a decent life. But, you know, if you think about potential and human potential, let's say that human potential is this big circle around us, right? Now, most of us live in this sort of dinner plate-sized place. We never go out and explore the edges of our potential by trying to get uncomfortable and doing things that are maybe a little outside of our comfort zone. We can just kind of exist in this sort of soft space that we've created for ourselves right now. And of course, there are people who get out and, you know, into those edges, like the Goggins of the world, like the Cam Hanes of the world. But I think most people don't really go out and see what they're capable of.
When you actually physically exert yourself, it actually calms the mind. And I think there's probably a direct correlation, although I haven't done any studies. I would imagine there's a direct correlation between physical inactivity and mental depression. I would have to imagine that there's at least some crossover there.
Yeah, there absolutely is. I think that exercise, the studies show, it grows the hippocampus, which is an area that tends to be shrunken in people who have depression. So this is why the APA now advocates that psychiatrists recommend exercise to a lot of their patients.
I love how in so many of these clips, they're all using the right terms like potential. Everyone is tapping into this word, potential, resistance. It's amazing to me that they haven't equated it to the actual law that is governing potential and resistance, which is what the whole purpose of this program is. We've already gone over in the other videos the second phase of Ohm's Wheels of Life, which is what we call the system. If current is constant and resistance increases, potential difference must increase. So we're not going to get into that because that is the whole getting out of your comfort zone that he's talking about so that you can actually be challenged. Every resistance is the challenge that through our comfort, we just don't need to overcome anymore. Basic things like finding food and shelter and all of these things, we have to still struggle for them, but it's in a completely different way that's not physically challenging us. What I'd like to talk about with this video is the last part where they're talking about the correlation between exercise and mental illness. And I believe personally that this is exactly the first phase of our advanced understanding of Ohm's Law. If resistance is constant and current increases, potential difference must increase. That's the upper level of the first phase. But the lower level of the first phase is if resistance is constant and current decreases, potential difference decreases. It must decrease. That's what the law says. So if you are in a state of constant depression or anxiety, that is a high mental resistance state. And if it is constant, I personally believe, because I've suffered with depression and anxiety my entire life, I know the times that I felt worse were the times when you are in a state of complete hopelessness and despair, and you can't even get out of bed. And then it creates this little feedback loop. So if resistance is constant, you're constantly depressed or anxious, and current decreases, potential difference must decrease as well. And then this feedback loop starts happening. And I've seen it in my own life through all of my struggles with depression and anxiety. You act less and your potential goes down. Your potential goes down and you act less. And it just creates this feedback loop where I'm not doing anything, so I feel worse about myself, and then I do less, and then I feel even worse about myself. And there's a whole downward spiral because you're not doing anything. And every time that I've been in the worst mental state of my life, projects like this have been the thing that have pulled me out of it. Because you just have to start taking some action, any action whatsoever. And if you say, oh yeah, but my anxiety's the kind that you can't even act, you're putting the cart in front of the horse on that one. Your inaction is paralyzing you because your potential is getting so low that you don't have the energy to act. It doesn't matter what it is that you do. If you are suffering from depression and anxiety, you must do anything. Any little goal that you can set for yourself that is going to lead to the increase of potential on any level is better than following the spiral downward into greater and greater states of depression and anxiety. It's a great clip. The comfort crisis, basically what's happened is with the electrification of the planet and all of the creature comforts that have come with that technological advancement, all of the really basic challenges of life are dealt with. Now we have all kinds of new challenges that we've made for ourselves, but for the most part, you're not out worrying about getting clubbed by your neighbor, and you're not out trying to figure out how to take down a mammoth so that you can eat for the day. And because of that, we have become a vulture-based society. And if you don't know what I mean by that, you should watch the last video that we just made, The Two Kings of Ancient Egypt, the vulture and the snake. We are becoming more and more path of least resistance focused because electricity is overcoming the basic resistances that are supposed to be keeping us physically fit and healthy. And as a side effect of this, we have a staggering increase in mental illness. And that is because, as I believe with this theory, if resistance is constant and current decreases, potential difference must decrease. And we are experiencing that decrease in potential mentally as depression because we are becoming less. Through our inactivity, we are physically becoming less. And we know it subconsciously, and the way it's manifesting is in depression and anxiety. We hope you enjoyed the video. The graphics that you've seen in this video are what we call Ohm's Wheels of Life. The group that has put this together is called Seniorthinktank.ca. If you come to our website, we've got all kinds of literature that you can get started learning about how energy law is affecting every aspect of your life. We hope that you'll join us in this quest that we're on to spread this message, because it never ceases to amaze me how many people are using all of the right terms like current and focus and potential and resistance, and they just haven't gone that next step to applying it to the actual empirical law that has been proven and has electrified our entire planet. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. We will see you next week.